The infamous Hong Kong Category 3 film has fallen out of favour with filmmakers over the last decade, as Hong Kong becomes more intertwined with the Chinese film industry and the lure of a wider audience attracts producers. Profits over content. We've seen it in Hollywood, and Hong Kong is no different. But along has come director Lee Cheuk Ban in his second feature film, both Cat 3 films and both starring Hannah Chan. With a very film noir setting and dealing with the illicit underworld of the Hong Kong drug trade, is this movie a return to the gritty classic Cat 3 films from the 80s and 90s? Hi, I'm the Artie Dance from Asian Film Fans, and welcome to this review of the Hong Kong thriller, The Fallen. The head of the biggest meth smuggling ring in Hong Kong is dead, and at his funeral there's a struggle over the transfer of power between the head's adopted son Tempest and the clan's strongman Uncle Vulcan. Enter the long-lost daughter of the head, Irene, a mysterious middle-aged woman who's been missing for the last 20 years. Almost immediately she sets to work in her quest to take over the drug trade in the smuggling ring, assisting and double-crossing both Tempest and Uncle Vulcan until she gets what she wants. But things get a little more complicated when a young girl called Snow enters her life. She is Reine's half-sister and wants to know more about her dad, and seemingly is not interested in the family's drug business. On top of that, Reine is being blackmailed by undercover detectives, her identity and life, for details about the drug business. But in a series of twists and turns, it is Reine who ends up having the last laugh in this tragic tale of a life wasted. I went into this film with a very open mind. After viewing the trailer, it gave off the impression it would be something like Breaking Bad. But how wrong I was. The backbone of this movie is the noir femme fatale style. Hong Kong bombshell Irene Wan plays in the role of Reine, the long-lost daughter, and perhaps it's the nature of the character she was playing, but there were at times where she looked almost bored and disinterested on screen. Other times it felt like the director is trying too hard to be extreme. Scenes of cruelty towards children and excessive graphic assassination scenes are in play, while not out of place in the genre, are at times a little much. Add to that are the handful of shootouts where Reine emerges untouched, and this whole superhuman element to her character feels awkwardly out of place. It's a movie that definitely had potential. Its execution is just a little immature. The film is dripping with film noir style, and if you love that style, then you might enjoy this film. Reine is the typical anti-hero, cynical and seemingly unnaturally powerful. She has a presence on screen that is at times conflicting, wavering between boredom and strength. The scenes where she exercises her power are indeed enjoyable to watch, but these are then juxtaposed with her hallucinations while on a drug trip, dreaming of her lost lover and her guilt around his death. Keeping with the noir style are the frequent uses of flashbacks in this film, as the audience is slowly given information to piece together the tragic backstory of Reine and Snow. It's in these flashbacks where we learn how Reine was able to develop her ruthlessness and business acumen. And of course, then there's the intricate plot. At times it's a little hard to follow, as there is confusion why, on one hand, she's helping Tempest and Uncle Vulcan, and on the other hand, she sabotages them. In typical film noir style, you have to wait until the end for all to be revealed. But will you make it to the end? Noir worked well in the 40s to 60s because of the forced content restrictions imposed on cinema at the time over themes like violence, sex, and unsavory conduct. But with no or very limited content restrictions in place, The Fallen succumbs to the lure of needing to be graphic with everything. The violence is graphic, the themes are extreme, the sexual situations are abhorrent, in this case the incest, and by the end of the film fatigue kicks in and it just becomes too much. Luckily the movie is rather short at under 100 minutes, but it would have been so much more enjoyable had it exercised a little bit of restraint. It's an almost film. It's almost enjoyable, it's almost clever, and it's almost worth your time. There's no doubt a key audience for this, but it's not me. My recommendation is your choice. If you've seen it, what did you think? Thank you for watching this review. Please don't forget to press the like button and consider subscribing to support my channel.